Hi everyone, Kelt here, bringing you my thoughts on the British royal family and also Harry and Meghan. And today I'll be talking a bit about Harry and his visa documents. The question is, will Harry lose his visa and be kicked out of the United States? So I don't believe it's likely that he will be kicked out, but I think it will be looked into a lot more deeply. The spotlight is being shone on him because whereas President Trump did say that he would leave Harry alone, he wouldn't be deporting him, he did say that if he has been taking drugs, if it is about drugs, that they would have to look into it. It would be looked into appropriately. So this could be the start of maybe everybody there who's a drug taker being looked into. And there are people even pointing the finger at Elon Musk for having openly admitted that he takes drugs, albeit I think it's for his Asperger's, maybe. There have been a few comments where people have said, hang on, if you're pointing the finger at Harry, what about people in the US, well-known people that are taking drugs? Maybe Harry is going to be the one having the spotlight shone on him, being the one to be used as an example. Who knows? So his visa documents are very much in the headlines at the moment, and his immigration records should be released by the end of today. And it has been announced that they will be redacted versions. In other words, they'll block out all the interesting bits. Because we had the Epstein files, didn't we? The Epstein list, which was redacted, so you didn't really see the real stuff. So while it's not a surprise that they'll be redacted, it is a disappointment, because the relevant information, for example, Harry stating whether or not he took drugs at the time, will probably be part of the redactions. So we won't know, and there won't be any proof of his drug use. The redactions will just leave it remaining unclear as it has been. It won't be solving anything necessarily. So the lawsuit was terminated in September 24 with sealed orders, and now this latest ruling, which reopens the information, could show that Harry admitted to his drug use, and thus no waiver would have been granted. If this is the case, it could complicate everything for Harry, his future visa renewals, and more importantly, his plans to apply for US citizenship. There are quite a few, I'm noticing, saying, why does he need to renew his visas anyway? Hasn't he, as a royal person, a diplomat or whatever, already spent enough time in the US? Because that's the reason he applied for it in the first place. He's not there as a failed actress's husband. He's there as an important person who's obviously supposed to have something to offer the country. It's very unlikely that President Trump will deport Harry, as I said, because he's already said as much. He recognises how much Harry has on his plate with his wife. It was the Heritage Foundation which had pushed for this Freedom of Information request to try and prove whether Harry had disclosed his previous drug use. And let's not forget that he admitted this in his memoir Spare, but it's important that we know whether it is on his visa application when he moved to the US in 2020. I doubt very much it would have been on there. Harry could wriggle out of this by saying that it was historical use of drugs, but that he doesn't do it now. So if he admitted to historical drug use, I still think that would have been a black mark against him getting in. The Heritage Foundation alleged that Harry's admissions of certain Class A and Class B drugs, which they've named, which I'm not naming here because of algorithms, could have made him inadmissible under US immigration law, which is known to ban individuals who have a history of drug use. However, Harry could have received a special treatment or a waiver, and a lot of people are betting that he did, that under the Biden administration, Harry could have received preferential treatment. And he was very close friends with him and his wife, and their cronies as well. You've just got to look at some of these photos and you can see that there was quite a friendship going on there. So, is this spotlight being shone on Harry to, like I said, you've got to look at where they go. They go to these different countries, they go to Colombia, and the spotlight appears to be on them, but basically it's shining it on those around them. Harry is very big in the news, and so is Meghan, and I think they're going to be used to shine the spotlight on other people or on certain subjects, which will get to bring about more executive orders. So the interesting thing is that when foreigners obtain US visas, they are asked on the form if they have abused drugs. It's being said, allegedly, that sources close to Harry have previously indicated that he answered truthfully. Well, they would say that, wouldn't they? He probably lied to them and said that he was clean after doing a stint in rehab. I know that he was sent to rehab, I believe, when he was quite young, to sort him out. This doesn't help the situation, though, because if he had claimed that it was historical use, but he was okay now, then he could have been given a waiver and preferential treatment. I don't really know why they're talking about the files being made public if they're going to redact some of it. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's the same with the Epstein flight list. They talk as if they've got the whole thing, and what's the point of showing things with a load of blacked out information? It doesn't make any sense. Either you reveal them or you don't. For instance, it was last month following his appeals that Judge Nichols agreed to release redacted copies of 3 documents, but held on to the 4th. I don't see any point in this. It shows that there's something controversial. But the judge's reasoning was that there should be maximum disclosure so long as it doesn't violate Harry's privacy. I think we should have total transparency with something like this. So, President Trump suggested that it was possible. He was asked by Nigel Farage if Harry should enjoy special privileges, if in fact he didn't tell the truth. And Trump replied, and I quote, "We'll have to see if they know something about the drugs, and if he lied, they'll have to take appropriate action," end quote. And then Farage answered, and I quote, "Appropriate action, which might mean not staying in America," end quote. And then Trump says, and I quote again, "Oh, I don't know. You'll have to tell me. You just have to tell me. You would have thought they would have known this a long time ago," end quote. But this was before February, and in February, President Trump told the New York Post, "I don't want to do that. I'll leave him alone. He's got enough problems with his wife. She's terrible," end quote. If Harry's visa is an A1 head of state visa, which he would have being part of the royal family, he would be able to keep it for as long as he remains in line for the throne. And from what I gather, he can stay indefinitely each visit. So in other words, he's got literally free rein to come and go. The judge, Carl Nichols, had said that there was not enough public interest to justify releasing those records. I think he's totally wrong there. I think there's a lot of interest. But he's now ordered their disclosure, but with redactions to try and protect Harry's privacy. I would think that it was impossible to protect Harry's privacy, but also have the transparency that is needed for the sake of the public. So the documents being released and made public today will reveal, hopefully, the type of visa which Harry holds, which is said to be either an A1 diplomatic visa or an O1 extraordinary ability visa. Let's not forget he can juggle, is that his extraordinary ability? And also whether he declared his drug use. Royal family members would be likely to have an A1 visa, which does have less strict vetting as regards drug use, whereas other visas would have a lot more stricter vetting on this. It needs to be said or revealed what actual type of visa Harry has, because of the Foundation's queries about Harry possibly receiving preferential treatment. This would basically clear that up, I would think, because if we know what type of visa he has, we'd know whether he was likely to have received preferential treatment. The lawsuit was terminated in September last year and the orders were sealed, but this latest ruling does reopen this issue, and it will be interesting to see what is actually revealed to us, if anything new. So, will there be any new details, or will it be so redacted that nothing new is available for us? Now, one thing which could be quite significant in all of this to do with Harry's visa, and maybe a possible bit of influence over the decision making as regards it previously, maybe he had a little bit of support from various people. Anyway, the thing that I want to draw attention to is Prince Harry's previous relationship with Jill and Joe Biden. Some of these photographs show just how close they were, and I believe there are lots of reasons as to why Harry was so close to Jill Biden. Many people said it was their shared interest in the military and Invictus, and also her loss of a stepson. I don't know how that could be linked to his loss of his mother, but my own personal opinion as to why Harry and Jill Biden were so close, I don't believe it was just the fact that they had a similar sense of humour and a few things in common. I think it was a couple of things. I think it was one, the fact that Harry is in awe of anybody that he thinks is in a higher position than he is. For him to think that the First Lady is more important than he is as a Prince of the Realm, I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but he was quite awestruck by her, it was said, but I believe it was because she reminded him of his mother, the sort of age and the hair and just the general way that she was. She probably triggered positive memories of his mother. That's just my thoughts. But he looks totally smitten in a lot of these photos, so it does make you wonder. And the rest, here we have one article which says, and I quote, Jill Biden supported Prince Harry's Invictus Games, inspired by the US Army Warrior Games, and even Joe Biden joked about how much they hung out. This article says, and I quote, everywhere Prince Harry went, he had this blonde woman on his arm, the Vice President's wife. I'm a little worried here, you know what I mean? And that was allegedly a quote from Joe Biden when he was US Vice President. So he's joking about Harry being with his wife a lot and about her being with him a lot. Here we have some photos. Jill Biden, Prince Harry and former First Lady, allegedly, Michelle Obama, preparing to attend an event to honour military families at the White House during the first day of the Prince's visit to the United States in May 2013 in Washington. So in this photo, it's Jill Biden who looks starstruck and very excited but it could be just the whole thing. Another one, a tweet from Jill Biden where she says, "On behalf of Joe and myself, congratulations and best wishes, Prince Harry and Meghan." So she was congratulating Harry when he was first dating Meghan. It says here in this article, and I quote, "Jill and Harry struck up such a rapport that in 2014 she flew to London for his inaugural Invictus Games. And it wasn't the only time she backed his event. Harry took the games to Orlando, Florida in 2016 and was spotted watching wheelchair basketball with the then Second Lady of the United States. Then Vice President Joe Biden noticed too, joking, Jill, and I quote, "Jill went to London for the last games. She spent too much damn time with Prince Harry." So he, end quote, he was obviously joking. And then that was when he went on to say, everywhere Prince Harry went, he had this blonde woman on his arm. The Vice President's wife. I'm a little worried here, you know what I mean? So he's joking about it, but many a true word spoken in jest. And I will state now, I don't believe for 1 minute that anything untoward went on between them. But I do believe that the friendship was strong, and I think they were genuinely very good friends. It just makes you wonder how much Harry was let off regarding his visa. That's all I'm going to say. And here we have a picture of Prince Harry during the inauguration festivities in January when the Bidens laid a wreath at Arlington National Cemetery. Harry's image was in the background. He was pictured in his army uniform from his visit in 2013. This isn't just any old picture. This is quite a large picture and very noticeable. So, again, their connections and their friendship seem to be very strong. And it does make you wonder whether anything was covered up as regards Harry, or if there were any sort of concessions made to help Harry get his visa. So, just my thoughts. If you look at one picture, they both have the same, they're both mirroring each other's body language with the hand on the chin. Harry does look quite starstruck and smitten, actually, in this one. They said that it was because they got on so well because Jill Biden allowed Harry to relax and just behave like a normal guy. She treated him like a normal guy and not like a prince. So is this so-called unlikely friendship going to come back to bite Harry in the rear? Were there concessions made? Were the rules bent slightly to accommodate Harry? I'm not saying they were, but I think everything's going to be looked into, and it'll be interesting to see how far this goes. And as I said before, the spotlight, it always seems to be on Harry and Meghan, but it is basically on those around them, if you really look. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.